we are going to call the October 18th Human Services Commission meeting to order. And our first order of business is a call to order. And we have some excused absences, correct?
Yes, I just want to note here that we have Manny Brown is excused absence, as well as Maury Edwards, and then the rest of the commissioners are here. I also want to introduce a couple of guests that we have today. This is Kayla Hodges. She's our new intern at the Human Services Division. So you'll be seeing Kayla around for our commission meetings. So this is her first one. So very happy to have you here, Kayla.
Thank you. I'm so pleased to be here and spend time with you all.
Yeah, thank you. And then I normally don't introduce you, but Elena over here is a student intern from Issaquah High School. She's been here at our meetings. You've seen her. She works on our minutes and works with me. So she's a senior applying for colleges, and we're very proud of her. So thanks for being here. And then we have a few folks online. I'm very excited for this meeting. We have some of our community partners who will be joining us and sharing a little bit more about their organizations. So we have from Mission Africa, Nadudi and Akuna. Very nice to see you both. So lovely. I'll have you introduce yourselves more so. We also have Irene, who is from Essentials Health. And then we have Michael Itty will be joining us a little bit later towards the end. So quite a few guests here, and it's a full house. So just want to put all the names out there. Welcome, everyone.
Great. Okay. And do we have anybody that has made a public comment by email or?
No public comments here and no public comments by email.
Okay. All right. Approval of the minutes. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to read them?
And they are also in your packet that I printed off if you need a quick glance.
And we'll need a motion.
I motion that we approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, in a second.
Second.
Okay. Everybody that agrees or approves, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay. Minutes approved from our September 20th meeting. Okay, now we're going to move into the fun stuff. Our agenda items. Cultural specific human services. And I'm going to give it to Hannah.
Yes, so before I welcome again our organizations here, I just thought it would be helpful just to step back and remind ourselves why are they here? What is the goal for this evening and for this agenda item? So back in early 2023, one of the work plans here for the commissioners was to focus this year on site visits for our nonprofit organizations, really just with the idea to get a better understanding of what's the work that they are doing and get an opportunity to really see them on site, learn more about what they're doing, how they're serving our community members outside of just the application. And so in that, we realized there's a lot of organizations. I don't think we can see all of them in just 1 year. And so the commission decided to really focus on just our cultural organizations and the applicants who applied and who were also funded in the last grant cycle. And so in that, we've had some of our commissioners have the opportunity to go on site this year and present to the group at large. And then we've had a few organizations where we are kind of just connecting with them now. And since it's already almost the end of the year, we invited them here to do a presentation as well as share opportunities for on-site visits. So that way there is opportunity for folks here to know to learn more about these organizations, but then if there's more interest and availability, you can also go on site to see some work that they're doing there. So with that, you can see on the agenda, actually I didn't print it off, but in the agenda packet, there's a list of where we're at with the organizations. We met with most of them, and a few of them that we have not, we are welcoming them here tonight. So our first presentation is going to be from Mission Africa. And so we have two lovely ladies here. I'd love for you to introduce yourselves, and I will share your, Akuna, are you going to be presenting? I can share.
Yes, I do have a presentation today.
Okay, wonderful. I just make you a presenter, so you should have the share option. So while you get yourself set up, Nadudi, do you want to introduce yourself or Kuna, I'm sorry, either one of you can start.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Ndudi Chukwu. I'm the Executive Director for Mission Africa. And I know we didn't have a whole lot of time this evening, on us in particular, so I'll just leave it to Akuna to continue. She's our project manager.
Awesome. Thank you. So greetings, everyone. My name is Akuna, and I am the project manager from Mission Africa. And yes, we just put together a short presentation so that you can get to know our organization and some of the work that we do. So first, oh, okay, that's last. Give me one moment.
And Kuna, I think I could help. If you need any help with that, let me know.
Okay. There we go. Here we go. So I just wanted to start off to give a basis of Mission Africa and where it all began. So Mission Africa was established in 2002. However, it was incorporated as an official 501c3 in 2006. We have three main focus areas, and we have a lot of partner organizations. We love to partner with others, with other communities, other community leaders and organizations because we know that it amplifies our work. We are active in 12 countries, which includes 11 African countries and Mexico. So because of the partner organizations, our reach expands way farther than our local impact. Our three focus areas are education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation. And I've listed a few of the different projects that we do within those focus areas. However, I will detail some of them in the coming slides. A lot of times when you think education, healthcare, and poverty alleviation, of course, those are three distinct categories. However, a lot of times when people are experiencing hardship, these three seem to intertwine. And we like to come up with sustainable solutions in order to help people. We love to think about longevity and appropriateness in every project that we do. So we work overseas and we work here in the United States. So first I want to highlight a few of our global projects. One of them is our scholarship program. With our scholarship program, we offer full scholarships to 50 students at a time. They are located in Nigeria. And in Nigeria, there is no level of free education at all. So there's no free school. There's no public schooling that you can just go to for free. There are school fees. Some schools even require students to bring their own desks and school supplies as well. So with our scholarships, just $360 sponsors a child for the whole school year, and that includes their school supplies, their school fees, any other thing that they need. We have been doing this scholarship program since 2006, I believe, when we launched. And
2008.
2008 when we launched it. And we have a 100% graduation rate. So every student that has gone through Mission Africa scholarship program ends up graduating and getting admission into college. And we're really proud of that.
And I want to add that we do a 6-year scholarship. Every one of those 50 students, we take them through school from the time they get into middle school. We don't have middle school and high school, so we call it all secondary school. So from the time they get into middle school until they graduate and get their high school diploma, Mission Africa takes care of them and everything they need, including uniforms and school supplies. So 6 years each time. And once the 50 graduate, we pick up another 50. So right now we are with our third cohort of 50 students.
Yes, and to select the students, we also go through a process to make sure that it is based off of need. It's not just who was able to get in the application on time and everything. We actually work with community leaders and the village king to select these students and make sure that they actually need this scholarship. Another thing that we do annually is our free medical outreach. We travel to Nigeria and we choose a remote African village, and hundreds of people come out because for some of them, it's the only time that they get to see a doctor all year. So at those free medical outreaches, we have a large group of volunteers who are medical doctors, pharmacists, eye doctors, nurses, and they all come together to help these people and provide medications for up to 3 months after we leave the area as well. And finally, we have our farm project, and this is in partnership with the National Root Crops Institute. And what we do with that farm project is we focus on sustainable farming methods. We work with those companies to provide the seeds and such that will last. And they actually have set up demo farms in, I think, 3 different schools now, where they actually go out and they teach the students how to plant as well. So not only are they getting the enrichment as well, but they're getting to be outside and learning something that could become a trade for them in the future. So those were 3 of our global projects. And now to zero in on some of the local projects that we do here in Washington State. So we have our African Alliance Digital Equity Project, and this was funded by Equity in Education Coalition and the Department of Commerce. This was a really, really big deal for us because we were able to teach people priceless skills. We had computer training, technical training, a call line where people would call and it would be like a grandma saying, I don't know how my grandkids got me on Wi-Fi before I was able to connect. Something as simple as that, to teaching people how to make their own resumes. We had success stories of people getting their new jobs just by using a resume that they made. People getting promotions in work because they learned how to use Excel and they could do different things in their workplace as well. So this was something that we did last year, and we actually are now starting a new session of classes as well. So everything from Microsoft Word, Excel, we even had classes on social media because a lot of like immigrant families and such use WhatsApp and other communication apps to communicate with their family overseas. So it was such a beautiful thing to be able to host these classes. For those who had transportation issues, we did host a virtual class on Zoom, which was a whole thing because we then taught them how to use Zoom so that they could come on Zoom to learn with us. So it was a beautiful thing, and we're really happy to be continuing that program again. We also have our annual Smiles at Christmas, and this is a holiday outreach. We know that times can get tough, especially for parents around the holiday season when, all the classmates are getting all these cool toys and they may not have a lot or enough to provide what they would like for their children. So we like to let the families give with dignity. So what we do is we set up like a carnival for the children. They get the face painting, pictures with Santa, cotton candy, all of that. And the kids get to the parents discreetly shop for the kids, and they're able to take those gifts home and wrap them, put them under the tree. We even have people show up that don't necessarily celebrate Christmas, but they would still like to give their children a gift. So we do warm coats as well as the toys. And since we started, we have given away over 45,000 toys and warm coats to families. We also have our African Women Health Advocacy Project, which is funded by Fred Hutch. And we offered virtual sessions for education on early detection, prevention, and support strategies for breast cancer. This was last year that we did the women's health, and this year we were happy to continue this project with men's health. So right now we are doing sessions on prostate cancer, and we're also able to translate them. We have a lot of French-speaking people that have attended these classes and have just thanked us for the education because it gives a safe space for communication and for asking questions about these things that they may not feel comfortable asking otherwise. We always focus on cultural relevancy because a lot of times people try to use a one-size-fits-all approach, but we realize that people are uniquely different, especially with our focus and our audience that a lot of our clients and people that we serve are immigrants. So the culture is a little bit different. So it's nice to be able to speak to someone that speaks the language and speaks the culture and can really understand where the questions are coming from and how to answer them properly. We also have a back to school event that we host each August where we give away backpacks full of school supplies to families that are in need. Since 2006, we've served over 1,820 families and 5,120 children. And last year in 2022, we hosted our very first summer camp, which was an amazing experience. We were able to give a curriculum that was rich in African cultural studies. So though we are Mission Africa, we are here in the United States. So we love to do things that bring the culture out, and especially with the youth, to let them know more about the languages. They played games, they tried different foods, and really just got that enrichment of culture and learning new things throughout the summer. So it was a very unique experience, and we were happy to do that for 2022, and we did it, 2021 and 2022. And our African Health Advocacy Project, where we worked with over 30 African-led community organizations and 92 youth change agents. And that project was to help prevent and detect COVID-19 while sourcing and promoting services, including mental health services. A lot of times in the African culture, mental health is very taboo. So it's not something you just sit down and really talk about openly. You kind of like cry in your room and then come back and everything's okay. So we really got the chance to sit down, talk to the parents and the youth about how COVID-19 affected our mental health and different ways that we can help with that if another thing like this were to happen in the future. And we were able to do that for 2 years in a row also. And finally, we have our grocery assistance program. And we have been funded by King County and Renton Regional Community Foundation in the past to bring this program, and now City of Issaquah, which we are very happy about. So with this project, we do gift cards or gift certificates to culturally inclusive grocery stores. And this is for low income and immigrant families. A lot of times when you move to a new place, food is something that can help bring the family together. It's a place of community, it's a place of gathering and fellowship with your family, and it makes you feel at home. But a lot of times, if you just go to a Safeway or a Whole Foods, sometimes they don't have those cultural ingredients that will allow you to make that special soup that your mom used to make, or that recipe that just reminds you of being home and just fully embraces you. So with this project, we're able to source the gift certificates from stores that have those ingredients. That way, the people that have come here feel like they're at home and they're able to afford and reach those items in the grocery store. So this is our contact information. Our website is missionafrica.us, and we are on social media as well. And I wanted to ask before our time is up if anybody has any questions. But before I open the floor for that, I just want to thank you all for your time, for listening. Mission Africa loves to make people our family. So now that you've seen this presentation, you are our family as well. And yes, we really appreciate it. And we're very happy to partner with the city for this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Akuna. What a wonderful presentation. Feel free to stop sharing so we can see you on the big screen here. Yeah, folks, any questions for Akuna and Adudi over here with Mission Africa?
Yeah, I've got a question. I don't know if they can see me.
Yes. Oh, it'll come to you in a second.
It's me. Hi. I thank you for the presentation. What a wonderful organization that I didn't know about before, and I can't wait to tell everybody I know about it. I was just wondering about the name Mission Africa and whether it's connected to a religious organization, since mission oftentimes, sometimes religious organizations go do missions. So I was wondering if there's any religious organizational ties here, or if it's just a purely secular organization that has the word mission in its name.
I guess she's waiting for me to answer since I named Mission Africa. No, it's not a religious organization, and it doesn't have any religion tied to it. We serve all religions and all peoples. Of course, we are from Africa, so our initial intention when we started Mission Africa, like 18 years ago, was to serve, Africans, not just here in the United States, but back in the villages of Africa. That was our intention. So we just, named it Mission Africa. So that's what it is. And we focused on working globally in Africa until COVID hit. We were doing some things, some major, 2 major programs. But when COVID hit, we realized that we have Africans here in our neighborhoods who needed help. So we kind of shifted focus a little bit to serve our communities here.
I have a question, and I have an easy one. Where are your offices located? Or do you all work remote?
No, we have an office. We have an office that is kind of a big one because it's a hub for everybody. So our office is located in Federal Way. Is on, First Way, just next to the VM, Virginia Medicine Hospital. So we are neighbors, and we have been there since, I think, December of last year. And we do a whole lot there because we pick up from different organizations. We pick up from World Vision, from Amazon. So it's kind of a hub where people come to get whatever they need, whether it's hygiene products or canned foods or, sanitary towels, whatever they needed, anybody needs from the African community, they just come. So we have a physical office that we will welcome any of you to stop by sometime. You'll love it.
And thank you very much. I know we didn't give you a whole lot of time. I don't know, when did you contact them, Friday? Or?
Anyways. Early, middle of the week, so yes.
Yes, so thank you very much. It was a great presentation. We learned a lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Time for one more question.
Go for it.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Issaquah. So you mentioned that you have different programs and it seems they're seasonal. Do you have ongoing programs throughout the year?
Kind of froze on us. Oh, did you get the question?
Yeah, I think she said, do we
Okay.
have ongoing programs throughout the year? So we have the annual projects that we do at those set times, like the back to school and the Christmas. Ongoing would be like the scholarship students that we have. That's a year-long thing. And then just providing for the community. Like Ms. Chukwu said, our office is like a hub. So if we don't have something like a project directly happening at that time that can help someone, we direct them to the right resource and such. So as far as continuous ongoing right now, like we're starting up the digital navigation again. A lot of the projects that we've, and it'll be 2 years long. So a lot of the projects that we have done and that we showed right now are seasonal, but we are kept very, very busy. And when we do have those gaps, we use those to recalibrate and just see how we can better serve our community.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Rucker, did you want to ask your question? We have time. We have time. If you want, if not, no worries.
Okay, well, I'm curious, this was fantastic. I also had never heard of your organization and I'm very inspired. How do you get the word out to local community members and program participants?
Have you heard about WhatsApp? We have 200 WhatsApp groups.
Yeah, so it's kind of grassroots.
One of the things that Mission Africa believe in is that we that are, Akon and I are from Nigeria, and we believe you cannot be more Catholic than the Pope. We cannot be as passionate about Tanzanians, than the Tanzanian community leaders. So we work a lot with community leaders and we have a lot of WhatsApp groups. So anything we have going on, we can spread the news. We have translators and interpreters. So we have, in the African community, like all of us know, we respect the community leaders. We hold them in high respect and high regard. So most times we spread the word through our community leaders and of course through friends and family. So it is not when one person learns what we're doing, believe me, everybody in the community will know exactly what we're doing because they will post those on their WhatsApp groups.
Yeah.
And that's true
to add on to
in Washington. That's true in Washington as well, what you just said.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, and to add on to that, like we have email lists, and a lot of times what's so beautiful is that we see people come back and they end up coming back as volunteers after a while. People that came to get gifts for their children at one point when they needed a boost or something to get back on their feet, and then they come back to volunteer. Or somebody who took one of our youth marijuana prevention classes, they will send their younger sibling to then take the same course. So a lot of word of mouth, which we really love because we think that that is great community engagement as well. Like we have email lists and everything, but it always grows through the community and through people speaking to one another.
Thank you. That's so powerful. I love it.
Well, thank you both. Really appreciate your time. Again, your presentation was wonderful. Again, this is our first time as the City of Issaquah Human Services funding Mission Africa, so it's been a pleasure working with them and building their resources here in this community. So just want to say thank you again, and I would love some maybe, if you don't mind following up, if there's opportunities for any of our commissioners between now and the end of the year to come do a site visit or tour one of the navigation classes. Maybe you can send me some dates, and then I'll share it with our commissioners and help kind of coordinate that.
Awesome, thank you. And Hannah has our address, so you can find us.
I'll share it all with you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
And if anybody wants to come volunteer at Smiles at Christmas, we would love to have you.
Yes.
Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everyone. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wonderful. Well, then I will go ahead and transition us to our next organization. We have Irene Mueller from Essentials First. Irene came on nice and early to help me with the tech stuff. So Irene, are you available?
Yes, I am here. Sorry, I just get easily distracted by myself being on camera, so I turned myself off so I could listen to the wonderful presentation with my full attention.
No worries. So good to have you here, Irene.
Thank you so much.
You should be able to share the screen, so go ahead and feel free to start whenever you're ready.
Great. I am pulling up my slideshow right about now, and hopefully
no tech issues.
Loading, sorry, it's thinking. While we're thinking, I'm just curious to know who all in the room has heard of Essentials First before. Anybody?
Ooh, we got one.
Okay. Oh, gold star for you today.
I visited your office or your distribution center in Bellevue.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, we have our main office in Bellevue there still, and then we also just opened a new location in the Together Center in Redmond. So we now have 2 primary distribution points of our own, as well as having a few outposts in organizational partner offices and school districts and such, where folks like to keep stashes of the kits we make. Oh my goodness, this is loading so slowly. I'm so sorry. We did this earlier and it was slow, and I was hoping it would be quicker this time.
Irene, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Has your organization been known by any other name before it was known as Essentials First?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. I have a slide about that, but I'll get it out of the way now. We were initially called Kits for Peace.
Okay, then I have heard. Then I get it. I've heard you too.
Yeah. Okay, good. You get a star too. Putting you on the list. Yeah. So we were established in 2017 by a group of youth as Kits for Peace, and we primarily focused on providing essential hygiene supplies to folks who were living unhoused and underhoused in small sizes and in packaging that was manageable for folks who did not have equitable housing arrangements available to them. And so since then we've expanded. And so in 2018, we were established as a 501c3 nonprofit, and then we changed our name between then and 2020 to Essentials First, so that it was a little bit broader than just kits, because that is still one of our primary programs, but we've expanded our offerings a bit as we get feedback from community and have been able to do a deeper assessment of the need for essential hygiene resources. So my slides are still only half loaded, so I'm just going to sort of recite the first few of them for you for memory, and I'll circle back if I miss anything big. But So I'm here from Essentials First. I'm really excited to be here today, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time. We are here to both provide and advocate for equitable access to essential hygiene for folks who don't have access otherwise. You can't buy soap with an EBT card. You cannot buy soap, laundry detergent, baby wipes, diapers, menstrual hygiene products with WIC checks. None of the existing subsidy programs to meet the basic needs of folks who rely on public assistance include hygiene specifically. And also a lot of funding at local, county, state, and federal levels for basic needs does not provide for hygiene products for service providers or indirect aid to residents. So Essentials First came into being to try and address this gap in services where folks who need support meeting their basic needs have somewhere to go and get essential hygiene products, similarly to how there are facilities that are designed to help meet needs around food insecurity, for instance. So our goal is to be that for hygiene. And so we do this in a variety of ways. You may have seen purple kits in the past if you were here in the Kits for Peace era. We've moved to blue drawstring backpacks, but what we put together are called essential hygiene kits, and they've got about a month's worth of household and personal hygiene products for 1 to 2 people in them. And then we expand on these or give multiple kits for larger families. And so the idea is that folks are able to come in and then have enough to last them for a while so that they can get caught up on their laundry, so that they can not only take a shower for that job interview, but then be set for the first few weeks of work so that folks can have the resources that they need to care for themselves, care for their home, their children, their dependents, and their families in the way that they would like to with dignity and agency. So these kits are available through our drop-in center. Like was mentioned, somebody visited us in Bellevue. That's our main office where we assemble them and store them, and then we distribute them through there, as well as our new location at the Together Center in Redmond, and then through various school districts and partner organizations throughout the region. Yay, slides. There's our logo. Very pretty logo and a few sampling of photos. So this is most of what I just said. Oh yeah, this is a great point. Food banks, I think, are probably, other than us, the folks spending the most energy trying to assess and address this gap in services in our communities, because they already have a point of contact with so many of the folks who are experiencing hygiene poverty, because these are the same folks experiencing food insecurity 99 times out of 100. And so many food banks have a hygiene pantry. They have a separate donation program for this. They apply for accessory grant funds for this. It's an additional weight on their missional programming of providing food for folks, because they know that this is such a pressing need. But even with everybody's valiant efforts, food banks are really only meeting about 5% of this need in most communities, just because it is so ubiquitous and they are already doing so much. And so no dig at food banks. They're my heroes. It's thankless work and they show up every day. And this is a whole nother separate need on top of the need for equitable food access that folks are trying to meet in addition. So that's another thing that we're hoping to do by being collaborative, by partnering closely with food banks and other community organizations, that we can do this little bit so that other organizations can focus on their missional focus. And together we can make sure everybody's basic needs are met across the board. Who's impacted? This is an oversimplification, but gives you some highlights. We have many recently arrived refugees in our client community. We connect with folks from countries all over the world as they come into the country under a variety of circumstances, and folks who've been here for a while and for whatever reason need additional support to take care of themselves and their homes the way that they would like to. We do our best to have culturally responsive services. So not only do we try to keep products in our kits and available on the shelves that are fitting for folks from a variety of cultural backgrounds, with different traditions, with different experiences, with different hair types, with different preferences, different cultural needs. We also try to listen and adjust as we go. So one of my favorite examples of this is during the Afghan refugee crisis. There were many folks coming into the country with nothing but the clothes on their backs and their whole family, and they were deeply grateful for the hygiene supplies. And when asked what else they needed, they said, we don't have prayer mats because we weren't allowed to bring anything with us, so we can't pray. And so we did a whole big batch of kits that included prayer mats so that families could not only meet their basic hygiene needs, but also feel able to ground themselves in their new home. And we were able to support folks in coping in the trauma that is being, dislocated by by conflict as refugees are. And so we do our best to not only be culturally appropriate, but culturally responsive by listening to folks and finding out what they need as we go. At least 60% of our clients, I think this is probably a low number, are families with children. We also have many multi-generational families in our community. At least 40% of our clients are families, households, or individuals who are elderly or disabled. And then the overwhelming majority of folks that we're connected with in the community are low or very low income by HUD standards. We know that there are up to 2 million people who are food insecure in Washington state, and though hygiene insecurity is not as thoroughly studied, our own needs assessment and other research that we've incorporated in assessing and addressing the need in the area shows us that if folks are food insecure, by and large, they are also experiencing hygiene poverty as well. And so we know that there are up to 2 million people in Washington state, therefore, who also could benefit from having access to a resource like us. We also know that the cost of housing is skyrocketing. This number is probably not high enough anymore, but we know that folks are spending anywhere from 70 to 90% of their income just on keeping a roof over their head, if they are able to at all at this point. And we know that mental illness and behavioral health are a unique struggle for folks who are living at the intersection of systemic failures like poverty and food insecurity. And so we know that hygiene is directly connected to how we feel and how we're able to show up for ourselves and in our lives. And so we also hope to support folks who may already be struggling even more than some, just with the mental load of surviving in the world. I pulled a few numbers for Issaquah because I thought this was interesting.
Hi,
Did somebody say something?
I think you're okay. You're good.
Okay. If somebody has a burning question, I can stop, but I wasn't sure.
No, you're good.
Okay, cool. You froze for a second, but you're back. So in Issaquah, we have had about 35 households come down to our Bellevue office in 2023. Because we don't have a second location up here, we don't have direct contact with as many folks, but we do know that where we have a location, folks will come. So for contrast, in Bellevue, where we have a central location that folks know about, that we're able to advertise, over 53% of the folks from East Side cities who utilized our Community Kits program in 2023 are from Bellevue. And so we know that having points of access is a really important step. And we know that from the numbers available through the US Census in Issaquah, there's at least 3,000 people in Issaquah who are likely at risk of not having equitable access to hygiene essentials because they already are likely to be needing support accessing food. This is just a little bit more about us. Like I said, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We're addressing hygiene access and equity in King County, Snohomish County, Pierce County, and also up in Skagit County. Our boundaries are a bit fluid because they're determined by our partner network, which is always growing and changing. A little bit about us. You may have, if you've met us before, probably met Nikki or Kizair or their daughter Nabrath. This family has been a huge part of founding Essentials First. Not to be confused with MCRC, which Nikki is also part of the leadership team for. We are separate organizations, though we love MCRC and do partner closely with them at times. And then we have a major component of our leadership structure that prioritizes youth leadership development and giving young folks the opportunity to take leadership roles in deciding how we address the needs that we are seeing and being part of carrying out those strategies. So our youth leaders are still with us as young adults now, and we continue to bring in more young leaders. We have a youth board program. We have a school program called Hygiene Champions, where we support kids starting hygiene clubs in their schools to learn about this particular social issue and how it's being addressed, and to give them some agency over improving the quality of life in their communities. This is our vision. We've talked a little bit about this, but what we want is a world where everybody who has access to a shower gets in the shower and finds everything that they need to take the shower they want to take, to step out feeling clean and feeling like themselves, feeling ready for whatever comes next. We want to make sure caregivers are not hindered in what quality of care they can provide by lack of access to basic hygiene supplies. We want moms and elders and children and everybody to have what they need. And in a way that meets their individual needs. So not a one size fits all approach, but something that meets everyone where they're at and ensures there's a variety of resources available so that folks are afforded the dignity and respect we all deserve. I already talked a little bit about this, but what we do is our hope in our approach is that we are helping to prevent illness and improve mental health on the individual level, and then also increasing and improving our collective health, because the way that we show up in public spaces is also impacted by our hygiene, and the way that we are not welcomed into our work communities, into our schools, into our social circles is also impacted by hygiene and the way we feel about ourselves. And so our hope is to support folks in having healthy lives on all levels by providing for this basic need. These are the 3 programs I mentioned earlier, but in a little more detail. Direct distribution is the community kits program I mentioned, where we put together these bags. Folks can get them from our office. They can get them from our partners like school districts, food banks, other organizations. We also have a volume distribution program for which we're currently seeking sustainable funding, so it's only partially active. But through this model, we're able to distribute hygiene essentials in bulk through partnership with food banks. So folks can get hygiene essentials in the same format and the same location that they are getting their food from food banks. So this eliminates the need for folks to travel to a second location. It allows us to build on the relationships of trust that food banks are already building with folks who are coming in repeatedly. And it allows us to not reinvent the wheel. The trucks are already on the road. The buildings are already being, taken care of. The staff are already there. And it also alleviates the need for them to try to meet this hygiene need they see in their communities themselves. So if we are able to provide the resource, food banks are able to collaborate with us to provide the space and the staffing. And in that way, we're able to double the resources folks can access in these already existing service points. And then our advocacy program, we're advocating for policy level solutions. Like any good nonprofit, we're trying to put ourselves out of business. And our hope is that eventually we are able to impact policy and budget so that hygiene is provided for at least on the same level that food and healthcare and daycare and other public services, social services are at the government level. And so we're sort of equally focused on specific policy and also redefining what basic needs means in the legislative atmosphere so that it does include hygiene by default the way it includes healthcare and housing by default, and so that this becomes a consistent part of the dialogue around the network of human services that we're creating for our communities. Just threw in a few photos so you can visualize what we do. This is from 2021. This one I thought would be cool to see. It's close to home. When we were still called Kits for Peace, we were able to bring several hundred kits to the Issaquah Food Bank. Few photos of our awesome volunteers and staff at work. We have Rotary groups that volunteer with us, faith groups, community youth groups. We have Girl Scouts. We have kids come do birthday parties sometimes at the office, and they do a packing activity and learn a little bit and then have a pizza party. We have all different kinds of groups of people who show up and help us pack these kits and then help us make the connections through which we can distribute them. We also provide hot meals at a lot of our events. Here's some folks. We give out blankets. That's that little tubey blue thing in that person's hands there. We give out blankets this time of year as well, in addition to other cold weather gear. So the kits are customized a little bit season to season as well. And then Share Your Blessings is one of our largest annual events. Last year, we served over 500 folks dinner right around Thanksgiving, and we're also able to provide hygiene kits and warm blankets and other resources to community members in need there as well. I love this event because it gets everybody in the same room and we're all sitting around the table together, both clients who come in for the resources, elected officials who help us support this work and advocate for this need, folks from other organizations, folks from the neighborhood. It's a way for us all to get together and really focus on building community around this issue that can be so isolating. And then this was our holiday fair last year. We had lots of folks come through and many organizations participate, including folks like Molina and For Tomorrow, MCRC. So there was food, there were multiple community resources, there were folks getting registered for stuff, there were folks picking up blankets and Christmas gifts and getting a hot meal. We do this in the parking lot outside our building. The next one's coming up on December 8th. I'll make sure I send the flyer for that along, and we would love for anybody who wants to join us as a volunteer or a visitor that day to come along. It's a really fun event. And last but not least, these are the ways we ask folks to get involved. So if you are somebody that you know might be passionate about this, there's lots of different ways that you can lend a hand, and we would love to tell you more and have you come by and check out our office and get as involved as you'd like to be. This is a quick sampling of our partners. This last slide never wants to come up. There we go. So we, especially in the last year, have been developing more corporate sponsorships with our partnerships with companies like Amazon and Microsoft. We've had employees doing packing events and been able to distribute some educational material through some of their task forces around things like refugee support. So we're hoping to build on those relationships to expand the services that we're able to provide to community. And then we also partner closely with International Rescue Committee and a few other refugee support organizations directly, as well as public health and different city governments, to ensure that we are reaching as many folks as possible.
Great. Thank you so much, Irene. What a wonderful presentation. I'm going to open it up to commissioners here. Anybody have any questions for Irene about the organization or work they do, or?
I just have a general question.
Yeah.
We saw that slide about you delivering a bunch of stuff in 2021. Do you have an ongoing relationship with Issaquah Food Bank?
We did at one point. There has been some leadership turnover with them, I believe. And so our primary relationship holders are not there anymore. And so we are in the process of trying to get at a table with the current leadership so that we can find out what the need is that they're seeing these days and if we can partner to do the same thing again. We did have a very successful pilot program with several food banks that year. And we do have continuing relationships with some of them, but as you know, things have been a little bit tumultuous in the food organizing community the last couple of years. And so it is sort of a mix of relationships that have had some continuity since the pilot and organizations that said, we love you guys, but we got some stuff to deal with. We'll get back to you, that we have not been able to reconnect with. So we've got, I think, 3 food banks. Issaquah Food Bank isn't currently one of them, but we've got 3 food banks that we're continuing to provide supplies to in bulk. And we're sort of ad hoc figuring out how to do the transportation. We had a partnership with Food Lifeline during the pilot. To the earlier point about just changes in leadership and structure that have meant that we've needed to put the infrastructural piece of that on hold because their transportation stuff is quite complex, of course. And so we've had that on pause, but during the pilot, that's how we were getting stuff around. And so right now we're utilizing volunteers and rented box trucks and good old willpower to get these big pallets of hygiene supplies to food banks when they need them. It costs about $5,000 to $7,000 a month to keep a food bank fully stocked in our experience.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Any other questions? Well, Irene, it was a wonderful presentation. I think you gave some really great information, hence maybe why not as many questions, because you answered a lot of them in your PowerPoint. So wonderful. So nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Sorry I talked a little long. I know I do that, but if I did miss anything, feel free to reach out and I will get the flyers for upcoming events to the main email for you all. So if you'd like to come to the holiday fair, we can see you there.
Well, I'll pass on, and then any other ways that for our commissioners to come on site as well, that would be wonderful. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. During our regular office hours, you're welcome to schedule a site visit, which is Monday through Friday from 10 to 3. And we can also be there other times by appointment. So yeah,
perfect.
We'll follow
All right,
up.
we'll be in touch soon, Irene. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so then we have one more organization. I'm so excited that we have Michael Eady, our Executive Director at Chinese Information Service Center. So I will go ahead and just hand the mic over to you. Michael, do you have, let me give any sort of presentation that you want to share? I just gave you a presenter, so you should be able to share it. Let me know if you have any issues with that.
Thank you, Hannah. Can everyone hear me?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for the invitation. Hello to all the commission members and staff. Thanks for the role you play as volunteers to advise the Issaquah leadership about human services, and I really appreciate the time to be able to share. So what I'll do is I'll go and share my presentation, and I have a brief one, and then allow time for questions. Did the PowerPoint pop up?
Yes, we can see it well.
Great. So again, I'm Michael Itti with Chinese Information and Service Center, and I've been the executive director for 5 years. And previously, I was the executive director at the Washington State Commission on Asian Pacific American Affairs. And yeah, I grew up on the East Side, went to Redmond High School, so it's I know I've seen a lot of changes over the years. So the mission of CISC is to create opportunities for success while honoring the heritage of the immigrants and the family members that we serve. And the staff helped us develop our core values. They are community, compassion, empowerment, equity, and inclusion. And our staff are bilingual, and the majority of them are immigrants themselves. So they understand the lived experiences. They share a lot of the same experiences of the people we're serving. And we are able to, advocate and empower the people that we serve. And we use a strength-based approach to maximize the strengths of the immigrants we're serving and helping them achieve their goals. So we started in 1972. You can see a picture of some of our early volunteers who were students at the University of Washington, and they were walking around Seattle's Chinatown International District and saw many older adults who were unable to access services due to the need for cultural and language services in the city. And like many organizations at the time, they found a table and a donated space at the old Wing-Luke Museum, and they started serving community members, and they started showing up. And eventually, many of them said that I have grown adult children or I have grandchildren who need support. So we expanded and broadened our scope to serve the entire family. We have 130 plus staff who are bilingual and bicultural. We have 4 office locations in Seattle, Bellevue, Lake Hills area, our new location at the Redmond Together Center, and then in Renton. And we serve more than 12,000 people each year. So I'm going to talk about our program areas. So we serve youth. Most of the funding comes from Best Starts for Kids. So the focus is on birth to, pre-kindergarten. And our efforts are focused on the child's physical, social, and emotional, cognitive, and for a lot of programs, multilingual support. And we ensure that we're providing curriculum and youth development that's using culturally relevant strategies. A lot of our programs, including Parent-Child Plus and Child Care Health Consultation and Universal Development Screening, use a home visiting model. So our early learning specialists will visit the homes of parents and caregivers to support their child's youth development, and especially where it comes to developmental screening, to make sure that parents and family members are equipped with screening tools and to understand how to connect to resources and referrals that address their child's developmental needs. And we provide these programs throughout King County in Cantonese, Mandarin, and Vietnamese languages. We also have a program called Kaleidoscope Play and Learn that many other nonprofits offer. It's a drop-in service that utilizes libraries and other community spaces. So family members with young children, usually 2 or 3 years old, they can drop in at a library space, socialize with other family members, and the children are engaged with one of our facilitators who's providing activities, stories, music, and games. So it's a great activity for both the parents and caregivers and children. And in our Seattle office, we have an after-school program and a summer learning program we provide for grade school students. And then in Seattle, we also have funding from the city to offer a bilingual preschool that serves about 20 students. And then we focus on strengthening families using a family center approach. So we utilize wraparound services to strengthen families, and these are based in our Seattle office. We have a physical location in the Chinatown International District, and in South King County at our new Renton office. However, in East King County, we're using multiple locations to provide support. So we'll be at, for example, city halls or community spaces. And we ensure that families are able to access public services to improve their quality of life. So we provide a lot of information and assistance to make sure they're able to navigate and access services that are available to the public. We also provide cultural activities. We recently had a Autumn Festival event at the Together Center in Redmond. And we have community building and education workshops that we provide. And our clients speak many languages, including Chinese, Russian, Ukrainian, and Vietnamese. And we'll often partner with organizations and government such as King County Metro. So they will approach us when they're changing bus routes and wanting to understand the impact of changing routes for older adults. And so we'll do sort of a mini focus group with them to make sure that they get feedback. And then in 2020, in response to the rise in anti-Asian hate, we began documenting incidents of hate crimes, and we joined a coalition against hate and bias with several other nonprofit organizations to document cases and then provide survivors with support, including legal assistance, referring them to mental health, and other supports to help them restore their sense of agency and safety. And we have phone numbers that people can call for Chinese languages, including, and also Russian, Ukrainian, Vietnamese, and Spanish. And our family support programs include English as a second language classes, as well as naturalization. And we'll partner with nonprofits like One America or Entre Hermanos to be able to help people achieve their dream of becoming a naturalized citizen. And then we continue to still support older adults, ensuring that they're able to thrive in their own home and community. So we have senior activities that are based in our Seattle office, as well as North Bellevue Community Center and other senior centers around Seattle, East and South King County. And it's a place for older adults to enjoy cultural activities, socializing. We have Tai Chi or music, and we have other kinds of workshops, including an annual senior resource fair that we have at North Bellevue Community Center with several hundred attendees. And we'll have 30 community partners there to provide resource tables. And then one of our major programs is our case management program, where we have about 30 to 40 staff who will visit the homes of low-income seniors and disabled adults to ensure that they are able to connect to a caregiver or specialist to enjoy their communities. And we also provide support for family caregivers to make sure that they have best practices and also breaks for that vital role that they play to serve their family members. And then each year, especially right around now, it's open enrollment, and we do 24 outreach events throughout King County to help folks that speak Cantonese, Mandarin, Vietnamese, and English to be able to understand how to access affordable health care like Medicare and Apple Health, and to make informed decisions about these complex plans. So we have hotlines, for phone numbers, as well as drop-in counseling to help them understand their affordable healthcare options. So that concludes my my presentation there. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Michael. That was such a great presentation to learn about so many different programs. Yeah. It's incredible that you really touch all generations and so many different groups of folks. So,
and the fact that you've been around for 51 years, that's amazing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, we celebrated a great event last year, our 50th anniversary. So we really are just proud of continuing the legacy of the volunteers who started the organization. And I do want to add too that we do appreciate the city's support for our Family Resource Support Program, which essentially provides support for Russian, Ukrainian, and Chinese-speaking community members who have questions about how to access public services and programs that will help strengthen and improve their quality of life. So thank you for that support.
It's our pleasure. It's wonderful work that you all are doing. Great. Any commissioners, any other questions for Michael here? Oh my God, I really appreciate your time this evening. I know you are always busy doing a lot of great work, so thank you so much for meeting with us this evening. And if there's any events or anything else that you can think of that you may want to share with the commissioners, please send it my way and I'll pass it on to them to maybe do an on-site visit or opportunities to get involved or learn more about CISC.
Well, thanks, Hannah. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity, and have a great evening.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and that's it for presentations. Yay! Learned a lot.
We covered a lot.
Oof, we sure did.
Okay, what time is it? Okay, 7:30.
We're actually didn't get on time.
Okay. All right. Well, should we move right into the next agenda item? Human Services Grants Funding Process?
Yes, that's me. Let me pull up let me share my screen now. Okay, get us started.
So it was that Madeline that said she had to sign off? Okay.
Oh, was that Madeline? Oh, bye, Madeline. Thanks so much for joining us. She just flew in from Europe, so I can't believe she's here.
That was very kind that she logged in.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right. Well, hello, commissioners. I am excited to kind of shift gears a little bit. That was great to hear from our nonprofit organizations. Really want to encourage folks, if you have an opportunity to go on site, there's nothing like just seeing the work happening and being there in the action. So more information to come via email to everyone about those opportunities. But now I'm going to shift us gears as we are getting close to the end of the year, which means we are getting closer to really a huge portion of what Human Service Commission does, which is the Human Service Grant Application Review and Recommendation Process. And so really my intent of this presentation is just to kind of start orientating us in that direction. I want to give kind of a high level, kind of a quick run through and prepare us for what the process may look like and what the timeline is going to look like. But don't worry, there's going to be a lot of training, a lot more fun PowerPoint presentations to really gear us up to that, so you feel more equipped for it. So this is just a little taste. So that is the intent. I'm not on PowerPoint, so it's a little different for me. So again, tonight we are just, again, look back a little bit of the 2023-2024 grant funding process. Some of you are a part of it, but I'm thinking it's about 50-50. We'll have some new folks starting this process, so that'll be nice. And then we're gonna, again, just talk about what the next steps look like for time frame. So stepping back a little bit, giving a little more context to the human services grants. So this is from our general funds here at the city of Issaquah. It's in a biennial cycle, which basically means they do one contract for every year. And so they have to apply every 2 years. So what that means for commissioners is that you're reviewing applications every other year. So it can get, it's a busy season, but it's very rewarding. So what really the goal is here is for you to review those applications and end up making that recommendation, which will then go to our city council, who will make that final adoption. So just kind of looking back again, high level, happy to give more details as we move forward. But want to just show you here for our last cycle, sorry for the typo, for our last cycle, we had $556,720 that was awarded to our nonprofits. I will say this is an increase from the previous cycles, which was $500,000. So we were very thrilled to see that go up. But I want you to really look at the amount that was requested. Almost $1.4 million. That's basically the organization saying, hey, this is how much money we need to be able to do the services that we're saying we can do on our applications. So we had to basically squeeze the $1.4 million into $556,720. Not an easy task. You can see here that there was 81 programs that applied. Some of those we had organizations that may have applied to multiple programs, but 81 programs, and we narrowed it down to 42. And if you're not familiar with human services grants, again, just high level here, we work with 16 cities total, North, East, and South funders, trying to really help streamline it for our nonprofit organizations. They go through the Share One app portal that they can basically do one application and apply to multiple cities. So it's a great process, and we collaborate as city funders. But again, we look more at the local level and what are the local needs. And so for our last cycle, we had our human services strategic plan, which we'll spend a little more time familiarizing ourselves in that in the months to come. But that ultimately led us to 5 priority focus areas that really help guide our funding decisions. Last year we took, and we'll have this discussion, we took the approach of funding less organizations, but more money. So the idea was, can more funding to an organization move the needle a little bit further? Where the previous cycle, they did a funding process where it was, we like to call it a peanut butter spread, not the official term, but it's basically was this distribution of, we want to fund everybody. And that's, we do. We certainly do. There's some great work out there. You're seeing those organizations. We weren't able to fund all those organizations. It's hard to say no. But we do look at the local response, but we also take the regional response. So we understand that some organizations may not be in Issaquah, but it's a needed service for Issaquah residents. For example, we have homeless shelters, not in Issaquah, but we support all the regional shelters. So again, we work with them to create contracts that are service focused. The grant applications you'll be reviewing has information about their organizations, and really we help guide them of, hey, look at Issaquah specifically and really tell us how are you going to make an impact for Issaquah residents. So that's what you'll be reviewing. This is just an example of what we use to help guide us for the review process. We've done a lot. Other cities do it very differently, but we found this one to work, and we'll discuss this process as we prepare. We did green, red, and yellow light. Simple, but sometimes it just is way easier. We decided what are our priorities. So for example, are they local? Are they meet our community needs? Is there an equity focus? Who are they serving? They get a green light. If they are a duplicate of services or they're not accessible, folks will put them in the red category. And then I would say the fun one is the yellow. Those are fun conversations to kind of really debate and figure out what makes the most sense with this funding. More training on that to come, but just a high level. And then again, what's to come? So between now and then 2025, which I know sounds like forever away, but it will be here before we know it. So here in Q4, we are going to be focusing on our strategic plan. We're coming up on 2 years, and we are reviewing how implementation is going. So we'll be presenting some more information to commissioners here in the next couple months. Really in Q1 and Q2 next year is going to do some grant preparation, training, basically kind of diving in deeper into this. And then in Q3, that's when we're really going to be, it gets busy. It gets real busy in the summertime, where we're going to review the applications and present it to the council. And then in Q1, that's when we really get to this is outside of commission, but this is where I get to really work with our organizations to really create the scope of work, build the contract, and then I'm monitoring. So that's the process. And then zooming in a little bit, I'm gonna kind of go through this quickly because it leads into our next agenda item, which breaks down what this next year looks like. We are basically preparing for, we're preparing for the end of April, which is when we'll start the application process, reviewing that. Again, I'll dive more into that, so I'll just cruise through that one. And then ultimately, really what we're looking at as our next steps, which I'll go in more detail in our next agenda item, is I really want to lay for this group a foundation of our strategic plan, and I really want to help familiarize everyone with where we're trying to head as a city in human services. And so that's really where we're going to start. We'll look deeper into our funding priority areas. We'll talk about what's our funding approach. What do we want to do? What's important? What do we value for this next cycle? And then we'll kind of get prepped for the process. High level, that's what's to come. I'm very excited. Any questions? I went through that fast because it's late. And you'll be hearing me talk about this a lot more in 2024. Cool.
Great summary. That really helps.
Good. Okay. Perfect. That's what I was wanting. All right. Back to you then.
Okay, well, do you want to just move into our
Oh yeah, back to me.
our draft work plan?
Yes. Okay.
And Hannah was gracious enough, she provided hard copies for all of us.
I did because this is an important discussion. And I really want us to think about what this next year looks like. And I spent a lot of time, again, looking at what does our human service strategic plan says, and how do I need to help our commission and our nonprofit organizations to prepare for this next cycle. It's a lot of work ahead of us, and I want everyone to be as prepared as possible. So again, this is a draft. There's definitely room to work on it. If you need some more time to kind of, before we finalize it, to think about it overnight, we can come back to this. But let me start us off in January. So really for our first meeting, it's going to be focused on our strategic plan. Like I said, that's a foundation. But what I will do is provide a presentation of basically how is it going? What have we been doing with that strategic plan? And so I'll give an overview of how we are at and just receive any feedback that I have or that you may have for me. By that point, I do plan to have done that presentation to our providers. And so I'll also be able to share some of what I've been hearing in our community.
Who are providers? Grant applicants?
So our nonprofit organizations that we partner with, so a lot of like our Issaquah, so like the food bank we talked to, or like, I mean, the organizations we saw here tonight would be part of that. We call them focus groups. So basically we will kind of give them the update of how it's going and receive any feedback, ways to improve. We're not here to redo like a community needs assessment. That's going to happen in a couple of years after the 5-year mark. So that is to come, but this is more so just an update. And then the next thing is a supplemental. So the supplemental is what we get to say and post in the application and say, hey, this is what Issaquah is looking to fund. This is how much money we have to give in total, and this is what we want to use the money for. So you folks get to help me write that. I'll have a draft, but I would love your input. Sorry, it's late. I don't need your income. So then February, you all get to have a wonderful Monica back. She's subbing for me. I will be in Disney World with my family. So yes, so having a good vacation. So thank you all for your understanding. But Monica will be able, you're in good hands. She'll give you an update of how kind of basically 2023 went as a division. So some good opportunity for that. And then in March, that is when we're diving into our kind of the grant review process. That's when like the discussion will really happen of, hey, how do we want to approach this? What makes the most sense? What are some lessons learned from last time? How would you want to implement it? So we'll be working that. And then you can see on the comment section, there's a few things that are happening outside of this meeting, which is new commissioners can come on board, and the application does start opening. So that's when things get a little bit busy for me, when I'm working with our nonprofits on the back end providing technical support. And so that'll be a busy month and a lot of preparation. And then April is, that's when I get to basically say, hey, this is who all applied. This is how much money was asked for, and provide the training of how do you just access the application? How do we review it? By that point, we should have our review card finalized. And then in the past, we have done like subcommittees. So again, we'll have that discussion how we want to do it. But we kind of did a divide and conquer type of approach. And so if that's the case, we'll do the assignments, and then April 18th, you're off. You're looking at those applications, and again, it sounds daunting, but you'll be prepared. And then May 15th is a little more kind of like the to-dos with, we'll have a couple new commissioners possibly. And then it'll just be a check-in. So kind of basically hoping to give you all a solid month on your own time to be able to start reviewing. And then come June, we actually, our meeting lands on a holiday, which is okay, because the idea is what we did last year. If we're meeting in subcommittees, we usually meet 2, 3, 4 times. And so we will do that outside of a regular meeting. So we'll cancel June, but do plan on having, seeing me a lot. And we'll be chatting and discussing our recommendations in the subcommittees. So, don't think that's a month off. It's actually a multiple meeting. So, and we are accommodating in your schedule as well. So it doesn't have to be in the evenings, could be evening, daytime, lunch hours. So then July, I think, is a great time for us. We'll be ready to basically present our recommendations. So we'll have each subcommittee report out what their recommendations are. And then that's an opportunity as a larger group to discuss and debate and figure out where we want to land on certain things. And then we'll continue to meet as needed. And then August 21st is ultimately kind of our final, that's when we really want to finalize our recommendations and present it to City Council. It will go to our city mayor, who will present it. Sometimes in the past, we've had commissioners attend those council meetings, but we'll decide that when it comes. And then I like to start fresh while it's fresh on our minds, kind of figure out, hey, what worked, what didn't work? What should we do different next year? And then we'll give up some more updates and time for divisions. And we can consider recessing in November, and then we will recess in December. So I'm really excited for this year. I really am. And I'm excited to work with this group too. You all have been very engaged, very enthusiastic about, and bring very great perspectives. So I'm excited to go through this process with you all. Any questions, any edits, anything I'm missing off the top of your head? Cool.
I was going to say this, Commissioner Jaime, is that there's a March 20th, the equity training. I did that last time and it was really worthwhile. So for what it's worth on that plugin, really does look into like the unintended consequences, biases. So I know it was on a Saturday when I attended mine. Mm-hmm. So it's a really good, I don't know if it's going to be the same speaker or not, but it's definitely worthwhile.
Jaime, thank you so much. I totally
Oh, no worries.
No, I'm glad
No,
you
you're good,
highlighted
you're
that.
good, you're good.
That's a big one. It's very important, I think, for us to do equity training right before we review the applications. So typically, historically, we work with all East Side commissioners, and we do an equity training. Usually it's offered once or twice. It's been in person, it's been virtual. So that is still to be determined. But so either we will work on planning that with our Northeast partners and offer those times to you. If that doesn't happen, it could happen anywhere between March and May. But if it's not happening at those times, we will figure something out to provide somebody to come in and provide training. So that is very important to us. And very, like Jaime said, a very helpful tool to do right before reviewing applications. So
Great. So it's not part of the evening meeting. It'll be sometime.
Yes. Yeah. That one's like very intense.
Got it. Yeah, there you go. Got it.
Is the way that one is. So it might be that one, or it might need to move or adjust.
How long the meeting is for?
For the equity training. Great question. I think it was either an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So typically what we did last time is instead of meeting for our regular meeting, we did the equity meeting instead. So yes. So I guess like the March, April could change a little bit here and there as needed. So more to come on that.
Yeah, you correct me if I'm wrong. When we were kind of strategizing this year was we did the equity training, but also being strategically around centering our agencies or nonprofit agencies around like BIPOC, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, to ensure that we're hitting the marginalized, vulnerable folks within our community. So we did that training that we were trying to be even strategic with the folks that came in today to make sure that everyone's voice is being heard when it comes to funding.
Exactly. That's great. Thank you. Okay, well, I will keep you all posted as I get more information about the equity training, which then I can update our work plan. So, great. Okay, I think that puts us in good standing then. So that's it for the agenda item.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to our reports. Okay, so the next thing is the chair and the commissioner reports. And I will just start out I want to highlight, okay, nobody brought winter coats, right?
No.
Okay, but if you click on that link, and you might not even know what I'm talking about, but there is a winter coat drive that the food bank is doing. And you can just go out and Google them and find out where the drop-off. I think the drop-off site is
at work.
Is at work. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember myself. I mean, we won't take the time here, but they I think they have 2 different weekends to drop coats off. Right?
So the final drop off is tomorrow,
okay.
Thursday at work, which is in kind of Gilman Village area, and you can drop off between 1 and 3:30. So they are in desperate need of more winter coats. The city of Issaquah, we are doing kind of like an internal small drive to help them out. So we're still working to get more.
Well, thank you for pointing out the tight time schedule, because I think they've already had 1 drop off.
They've had,
They had a few.
They've already had a few. This is the last one because their drive is November 3rd. And so they need time to sort through all the coats.
And they're really looking for men's coats.
Yeah, good point.
Do raincoats count, or do they need to be warm?
Do you know?
So I am going with you can put a layer underneath it. I think it's still a need, and if the food bank does not find it appropriate for this drive, they'll find use for it in a different avenue.
Right.
They do also have an option if you can't, or if you don't have donations but want to donate. They have an Amazon wish list. So on that link, it'll take you to their website, and you can ship one of their winter coat options. They have different, affordability type of coat options. So you can also do that way.
And I mean, they'll take any coats, right? but they particularly are looking for men's coats. And then, I mean, Kid Vantage, you guys are probably familiar with what used to be Eastside Baby Corners, now Kid Vantage. I think they will take all children's sizes up to 12.
Correct.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
And so the food bank is trying to kind of hit the gap of kind of older teen sizes. So
Right.
14 to 16 and then up to double XL or
Yeah.
men, women's.
Yeah. And then I know that you put it, I was just looking, you put it, I think, in somewhere about the notes that Madeline had given you about the different fundraisers that she attended, right? And Madeline and I attended the Issaquah Food Bank fundraiser together, I want to say it was a month ago.
September 26th. It was my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Of course you remember that. And it was up at the Newcastle Golf Course. It was the first time it had been held up there. And we had a great speaker, and I can't remember her name, where she was from. They flew her in from the East Coast, but she was a great speaker. And anyways, and I haven't looked to see if they've met their goal yet. I'm sure they probably haven't. But anyways, it was a really beneficial fundraiser, yeah. So that's my report. Does anybody else? And then we're going to get to you for sure. Is there any thing you guys want to bring up? No? No. Okay. You get to talk.
Okay, so this is going to be a fairly short youth report. So we recently had both of our October meetings, and mostly this is just filled with planning on the events I've already stated, which is State of Mind, Career Fair, and a Racism Awareness Conference. Mostly the main focus this month was the Career Fair, which is going to be going on in December, mainly focusing specifically more on careers more than colleges, to try to lead away from what the schools are already doing, as well as aiming towards underclassmen and older middle schoolers, so that we lead away from just giving just the opportunities to juniors and seniors who are already having more than enough opportunities with like the Issaquah schools, and they're already doing such college fairs. So we're giving them some other opportunities by having both parent speakers and different occupational clubs at our schools to help speak and man stands. And then we also had our pet adoption event, which is what we held at Salmon Days, which seems like so far ago. And so we manned a stand and we talked about pet safety and different processes and how to know when your family is ready to be able to adopt a new puppy or a new kitten. And we had some lovely volunteers from Seattle Humane, and they brought in some dogs and some kitties, and it was a wonderful event. We let everybody pet them. Very lovely event. And yeah, that's basically it for this month, this youth report.
Really good.
And then I was looking on the food bank's website. Is everybody familiar with the turkey trot? Okay, it is so much fun. Okay, are you familiar with it? Okay, it's a major, well, probably not major, but it's a fun fundraiser that the food bank does on Thanksgiving morning. And I've volunteered at it for a few years, but people run, and I can't remember what the admission fee is, but we have tons of high schools coming, their track teams coming to run. People dress up as turkeys or whatever, or you don't have to dress up, but it's a really fun event. Yeah, so, and it's being well advertised on the Issaquah Food Bank website. Okay. But yeah, so. Okay, I think it's your turn, Hannah.
All right, not too much for staff report. Monica did attend the city council meeting on the 9th. It was just mostly a report out, nothing too much to report back from that, but there was a lot of support with what the work is already happening. So that was great. And then a few things coming up for human services. I think I sent an email about there's a educational event coming up Tomorrow, virtual, please feel free to attend, mostly city staff and providers. I think some council leadership as well that will be there. And then we have Mayor's Day of Concern, which is also coming up this Saturday. So it's with our food bank and Issaquah and Sammamish are partnering, basically kind of going and sitting in front of grocery stores to kind of help increase some donations. So our city mayor will partner with the city mayor of Sammamish and volunteer. So they are looking for more volunteers. If you're interested, you can find that on their website.
On the city's website?
Issaquah Food and Clothing Bank.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I can follow up with a link for that. And that's it for my report.
Okay, and then did you want to, we're going to other business, did you want to talk about November and December?
Yeah, so I just wanted to, as we're kind of wrapping up the meeting tonight, I wanted to touch base with everyone as a whole. And what are our thoughts about our November meeting? December is going to be a recess meeting. So we follow council and they take a break in December. So we will as well with the holidays. And so November, it's currently scheduled for the 15th. So it's not on, Thanksgiving week or anything. But I did want to put it as an option if we want to recess that for the holidays or if we want to continue to meet. If we did meet in November, it would be probably looking at maybe having a few more presentations from some of our organizations. I'd have to finalize some of those. I think that would be the main thing currently. The agenda certainly could grow and would grow, but.
And then you had mentioned when we met with you that you would also have a quarterly report. You could probably.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. By that point, because right now Q3 invoices are being submitted right now. And so I don't have all the data, but by November, I could provide you an update of kind of desktop monitoring, how that's looking for their service units and performances. So I think, we wanted to present it to the whole. I know we're missing a couple of our commissioners, so we can certainly check in with them, but wanted to just kind of get a feel for how we want to plan our November meeting. If we just want to move forward with kind of that tentative plan, or if we feel in like a nice long break before we jump into a busy 2024. I'm open to either. Be great to see you people. Be also okay taking a break.
It does sound like we would have, just like today.
Yeah.
We would have a full agenda. If we met. We would bring in some other organizations, which, I'm assuming everybody found this really informative.
Helpful.
Yeah. And I would be game to meet in November. How does everybody else feel?
I'm fine with it. I might have to be on Zoom for me because I might be out of town early for the holidays, but I'm totally fine with it.
Okay, great. Seema? Anybody going to be out of town or any other things that?
I will be, and I'm actually maybe on a flight, so I might not be able to.
Okay.
Attend a little, but I would look forward to hearing about it, especially.
That's a good point. I haven't booked my ticket yet.
No, I was just looking.
Depending on the prices.
Exactly.
I might be in the same boat, so we'll see. Yeah, my fiance kind of, she wants to attend this wedding in Mexico in Guadalajara, so I'm like, what days are they again? It's like the 14th to the 20th.
Sounds very fun.
Yeah,
Mexico sounds great. Okay, so.
But I haven't bought my tickets yet, so I'm like kind of in the same boat as you.
It depends on the prices.
Wednesday to Thursday.
You have 3 people that aren't going to be here, right?
No, but
It's a maybe.
It's a
maybe. It's a maybe. Tina, and you are available. So it sounds like we need to check in with the 3 who are missing, because if you 3 are gone, we will be. Preston, what about you? You're in? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I count towards quorum.
I think especially if we can have some more providers present.
It would be worth it. Okay.
How do you feel, Anna?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Job, and it's fun. So
I
I'm
can attend
good.
via Zoom.
Huh?
I can attend via
From
Zoom.
Mexico?
Yeah.
On the beach?
If there are
Choose the background.
presenters, if they're presenters, you do the Zoom recording so we can learn about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I can that's not a bad idea, but we just need to make sure that we meet quorum. That's the biggest thing. So I'll do a separate email to the three and then I think we're close. I think it just depends. Please find the cheapest flight, whatever that may look like. But let's tentatively plan on it. And then we'll confirm that we'll have quorum. And then if we have quorum, we will move forward and I'll work on getting some more partners to present like they did here. We will, just so you know, we will keep it specifically our cultural organizations because we want to make sure that we're not having any biases when we do the review process. So if we invite folks that we originally didn't say in our work plan we were going to, it could be an issue. Just so you all know, on a different note, I will be inviting all of the nonprofit organizations who applied last year and who were funded to attend any public comment or to attend during the public comment. And they have up to 5 minutes to present. It could be a PowerPoint, conversation, Q&A, just so it's a very equal playing field that they all know it's a great opportunity for them to present their work they're doing. So that is, hopefully we'll get a chance to meet more providers in that capacity, but for this round, it would just be specifically our cultural organizations. Great, love the head nods. All right, well, I think that's it. Any other business though?
Any other what?
Business, anything else?
Just everybody remember to vote. Okay, first Tuesday in November. Okay. I think we're good. Okay, should I adjourn the meeting?
Please do.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
8:07, thank you.
Okay.